In this video I'm going to cover how I clean my Glowforge. So some of the utensils that I have are glass cleaning wipes, but you can use a Windex or something else like that, a microfiber cloth. I also have one of these brushes, which is a straw brush or a bottle brush. The blue thing that comes with your Glowforge, hopefully you didn't throw that away. Some lens wipes, and I have diluted simple green here because it comes in a concentrate. So I am using the heavy duty concentration. I also set up my iPad here with the cleaning directions that can be found on the Glowforge community. So as I go, I'm going to follow through these steps. If you don't have an iPad or a laptop that can be close by as you clean, you can print it off. So the first step of cleaning your Glowforge is to turn the machine off. And next you want to lift the lid of your Glowforge, let down the front door, and remove the crumb tray. To remove the crumb tray, you're going to want to put your fingers underneath this lip area, lift it slightly, being careful not to hit the printer head back there, and then lift it and pull it out towards you. So these are the little impressions that the feet of your crumb tray sit in. So that's why you're slightly lifting it to lift it over this hump right here to be able to pull it out. So I usually put my crumb tray on the floor or something like that, but I'm going to show you on this chair here that the slot that holds all your little pieces that fall down through your honeycomb, the slot that lets you dump all those out is on the front side where the tab is. The first time I removed mine, I thought maybe the slot would be on the back side, but so then I dumped everything on the floor, but the slot is on the front side. So when you go to dump this into the trash can, make sure that your tab side here is the one that's going into the can. The next step is to wipe the metal floor of your Glowforge, and also in conjunction with that, step number 4 is to check the dimples, because these 4 dimples again are where your crumb tray sits, and it says that, you know, if there's anything in there that causes the crumb tray not to sit as low as it should be, it could affect your alignment and how the camera head focuses on your material. So I'm going to use my microfiber cloth and spray it with a little bit of my simple green, and then I'm going to wipe this area down. So according to Glowforge, the next step number 5, is to put the crumb tray back in. So Glowforge tells you what needs to be clean, but I'm not going to leave all of this dirty for my own personal preference, and you probably don't want to leave it that dirty either. So while the crumb tray is still out, I'm going to go ahead and clean off this front door and wipe down any other areas that I think may need just a little wipe. My tube is not that dirty right now, but I've also seen people that will attach like a paper towel to a piece of string so that you can dip the string under your tube and then pull the string through. But obviously you want to be very careful when wiping around your laser tube. The next section of the Glowforge cleaning manual is about the things that need wiping. So it says after 40 hours of printing, you need to use your Zeiss lens wipes to wipe down some components. Now, fun fact is that your Glowforge actually comes with a Zeiss wipe. So if you have not found one of these little packets in your machine yet, you may want to go ahead and search for it. I've heard that some of them have gotten stuck back there, or maybe in this side over here, but your Glowforge should have come with one of these wipes. So as you can see, since I'm going to go ahead and clean the whole thing, I have not put my crumb tray back in. I just like to have it out of the way if I'm going to clean the whole machine at once. You only need to do these things that need to be wiped every 40 hours, as I said. So some days you might just want to clean inside your Glowforge, take the crumb tray out, clean it, but not clean your print heads and stuff like that. Again, your Glowforge is supposed to be off, and then you want to grip your print head and lift it up and back. And that will disengage it from the magnets. The parts you want to wipe now are these two lenses, the smaller ones. Give those a wipe with your Zeiss wipe. At the same time, you want to be careful not to touch this lens that's here on the side. So try to hold it in a way that you can avoid touching that, while also being able to give a good wipe to these two smaller lenses. Step 3 is to remove the lens. So the lens is this portion, the larger part between the two smaller ones that we just cleaned. So for this, you'll need your blue thing, and if you look at it, you see that there is one side that has remove and an arrow pointing to the left. So we are trying to remove the lens right now, so you're going to want to put that into your lens. And you heard that clicking noise, which means that the magnets have attached to each other. Then you just pull your blue thing out, and it brings the lens with it. Step 4 is to remove the lens off of your blue tool and to wipe both sides of the lens with one of your wipes. So be careful to only touch the outer metal part so you don't touch the lens itself. And we'll just give it a gentle wipe on both sides. Also, you want to make sure that you're not experiencing any cracks or any side type of problems with your lens, because that will definitely cause issues with your laser. Step 5 now is to reinstall. So go ahead and look at your blue thing again, and you'll see that the other side says install. So what you want is for the install arrow to be pointing up. Your lens should be on the side that has like an inner rim looking area. So here, this would be the wrong side. You want to put it on with this side facing up. So it'll go like this. So that the arrow on your lens and the arrow of your install are pointing in the same direction. Now you'll pick up your print head again and put your blue thing inside the lens hole again. And you can hear the magnet once again take place. If you're following along, the next step of replacing the print head actually takes you to another link about unboxing and setting it up. So basically what it says is that you're going to move your arm all the way over to the right side, and if your tube is not already in the far back position, you also want to give it a soft push to the rear. So I'll put this down and go ahead and push my arm over to the right side. So if you look at your print head, you have these two scoop down areas here, and those two areas are what connects with these magnets onto your print head platform. So the scoop areas will actually end up clicking in around these two posts. And you want to just set it near those posts. There we go. And you'll hear it click into place when you have it in the right spot. And the next step is to then clean this yellow lens that's on the side. Now back to the other side. If you look under here, that hole right there, you also want to wipe that as well. And this is the laser window. So give that a wipe with your Zeiss wipe as well. And finally, the last area that you want to wipe is the camera on the Glowforge lid itself. And oftentimes, if you're not having your material cut all the way through, or things aren't aligned properly, this is the first camera that I try to wipe before deciding if it's time to wipe them all down. Now I move my head, and you should make sure that it moves freely from left to right. But we're going to move it back to the center now, and I'll show you that after 120 hours, you want to wipe the printhead mirror, and that's under here. This part is just held on by magnets, and it easily comes off. Before you remove the lens, take note that the thicker side here points to the right, and you'll want it to go back in exactly the same way. So just carefully lift that out. It's not under any sort of tension, and you want to inspect this and make sure there's nothing wrong with it. And Glowforge says to give it a few swipes, moving to a different area of your cloth as you go. And then simply just set that back down in there. There's no need to press it or anything, because once you put the magnet lid back on, it'll press it back into position itself. And that part is pretty easy. Again, remember that Glowforge gives those time intervals. So we had the 40 hours for wiping down the 2 side lenses and the 1 middle lens here, and that one under there, with the one under this lid being every 120 hours. So it doesn't give a time period for when to clean your air assist fan, but I'm going to walk through it. I have done it before. So again, the first thing you want to do is remove your printhead from the platform. Now earlier, if you knew you were going to be cleaning the air assist fan and everything, I just wouldn't have put the printhead back on again. So we'll go ahead and get that removed. So you want to lift up to get that off of the post. And now you also want to remove your white ribbon, and there's a little clasp that you'll see. Press down on that clasp and pull the white ribbon out. And it says the next step, if your platform here is not already in the center, to go ahead and move it into that position. So now I'll swoop down under here and show you that the next part is to remove this belt from around this pulley post. So obviously right now there's tension on the belt, but once you get one side of the belt off, everything else will be easy. And that did take a good bit of force, so as Glowforge says, don't be afraid to use force. Now once the right side is off, there's no tension on it, and the left side easily comes off now. So the next step is to remove the printhead plate. And as it says here, you want to put both of your index fingers at the rear corners on the back, so you're not actually going to be able to see your index fingers back there. You'll just have to feel for the rear of the plate and put your index fingers back there, and then both of your thumbs on the top post. So your thumbs will go here, and then your index finger will just move to the back until you feel the back edge of your platform. So it does take both of your hands, so I'll go ahead and put this down and pull this plate off. So with your index fingers at the back and both thumbs on top, you want to use your index fingers to push the plate forward, and once you feel it release back there, use your thumbs to push the plate down. And what you'll find is the air assist fan. I did not mention it at the beginning, but if you're cleaning your air assist fan, you will need this compressed air. Spray it out with your compressed air, but if you see that it's still pretty dirty, I would go in and clean it up maybe some more with a cotton swab. Just be careful, obviously, to not interfere with the blades. So everything should move freely and not be broken. So again, to put this back on, you're going to want to put your index fingers there, and your thumbs are actually going to be up here for the first part. Also, before we put it back on, you want to make sure that your belt is aligned properly. So we're going to go ahead and untwist this and lay it back like this, as if, you know, when we get ready to put it back on the pulleys, we'll be looping it back around again. So this part will always be going through this box, and then you want the other part to be going right behind your box, but it will be loose. So what I did was I felt back here that the rear wheels were attached, and as those were attached, I used my index fingers to push towards me, and that's why you keep your thumbs up here, because if you don't, then the bar will also move towards you. So once I felt that it had snapped into place, then I just pushed the front wheels onto their bar. Now the part you've probably heard about is putting this belt back on the pulley, and especially when you go to attach the left side. I had read about it being difficult, and I'd psyched myself out the first time I tried, but honestly it's a lot more simple, and there's no reason to be afraid of doing this. So since there's no tension on your belt right now, it's easy to loop your right side back around the pulley there. And I'm moving the print head right now back towards the left so that tension is kept on the belt. So again, you can move this over a little bit just to kind of help keep the tension there so that your belt stays on the pulley. Now, if you're following along with the Glowforge cleaning manual, to put the left side back on, you'll notice that his thumb is on top of this motor here. And then if you see this area they have circled, they're showing you from the underside what the view looks like. So this is his index finger and his other finger holding the belt in place. And this will actually be the belt on the front side of the pulley. Then what you're supposed to do is move this platform with your right hand to the left as you're holding the belt around the pulley. And you'll slowly push the belt around the back side. So get it started by putting the belt on the front side of the pulley. I've got my thumb up here on top of the motor. My right hand is going to come in and move the print platform to the left as these fingers push the belt around, up this way and around to the back, okay? So put it on the front side, and now as you move the platform with your right hand, you can feel the pulley is moving in the same direction that you're pushing the belt. And there, it just snaps back into place. It's really easy. Now, the important thing to think about with your white ribbon is that this part is actually stuck to the silver piece. So what you want to do is make sure that it comes back and curls up like this so that your tab is on the top. Otherwise, it will be twisted and it won't be able to move along with your print head. So again, when you're using your print head, be careful not to touch any of the lenses. And we're going to just plug this ribbon into the circuit board there. Click it back into place. And I kind of gently guide my ribbon back under the black part as I move this onto the platform. And sometimes the magnets want to catch on the front part, so just pick it back up again and make sure that your print head goes to the back of those posts. And again, you can make sure that everything is like it should be by gently moving the head. And you can see that the ribbon is curling up like we want it to, and nothing is catching. So everything looks good there with our ribbon and our belt installed. So we're ready to put our crumb tray back into place. Remember that we're going to make sure that it goes into these grooves as we put it back in. And of course, be careful to keep the crumb tray low to the bottom so that you do not hit the print head. And if you give it a gentle push, you can feel if it's resting in those grooves on the bottom of the bed. Now, when the crumb tray was out, I went ahead and wiped down this lip area here and kind of gave it a light rub with my simple green over the honeycomb area. Some people have soaked their crumb tray and it did result in some discoloration, so just be careful when you're choosing to soak it or to wipe it down and what chemicals you're using. And now you'll lift the front door and making sure that the door closes all the way so that there is no gap between your door and the inside of the Glowforge there. Make sure that there's nothing in the way of closing the lid of your Glowforge. And also, if your print head is not back in the center, go ahead and put it roughly back in the center. And lower the door. Now, if the top of your Glowforge and the inside glass of your Glowforge is dirty, then that's where you'll want to use your glass wipes or your Windex. And mine is not that dirty right now, so I'm going to go ahead and skip that step. Now, usually I would also clean the back of my Glowforge where the exhaust fan is with this little bottle brush. I had cleaned it out already, but this back area here, it is a bit dirty again, but I use the brush and carefully put it in there, but you are going to run into the fan that's in there. So that's up to you if you feel comfortable putting a brush in there. Otherwise, I wipe down this area and the honeycomb with my simple green, and also some chunks of buildup will come out, and I'll use my vacuum cleaner to suck those up. And even though I just did it, since my hose is off, I'll just give it a small wipe down. And you can see it's a little bit better already. And once I have everything cleaned up, I'm going to reattach my hose to the back. And also, if you unplugged your Glowforge, of course, plug it back in and then turn your Glowforge on. I recommend use a piece of proof grade material to run just a small check to make sure that everything is working before maybe you're using more expensive materials. So I would just throw in a piece of medium draft board and make sure that I could still cut. I hope this video gave you the confidence to go and clean your own machine now, and also to be confident when troubleshooting. If you're having problems with your material cutting through, just check and make sure that all your lenses are clean and that the camera on your Glowforge lid is also clean. Those are some good troubleshooting steps to start with. When you give it a try, let me know. Did you find it to be easier than you thought it was going to be? Give somebody else the confidence to go clean their machine, because I found that it was a lot easier than I had built it up in my head. And last but certainly not least, big shout out to Juan A for using my referral code when he purchased his Glowforge. He saved money on the purchase of his machine, and also I got rewarded with Glowforge materials as well. Thank you so much, Juan A. I really appreciate it. If you need a referral code, I'll drop mine in the description along with the link to the cleaning manual and also some of the supplies that I used for cleaning and making this video. Thanks for watching.